So here we are once more, icon swaps, the second version. Let's get into the icon swaps. Now, it's a very difficult one for me this season because there's so many players that are good enough to be chosen. We start with Bobby Moore, who he's 5'10", medium work rate, not an issue at all. Well, his height's a bit of an issue. He preferably could be a bit taller, but his jumping's 81, which isn't too bad. It kind of balances out a bit, but his pace is quite low, especially in comparison to like a Ferdinand or a Van Dijk. However, he does have good agility and balance, and his defending and physical stats are good. But in order to improve this, if you were to do him, I would place a shadow on him. But like I said, there's definitely better centre-backs in the game. Militao's probably another option. I know his defending and physical won't be as high, but if you put a chem style on him, like a shadow, or maybe an anchor, or a sentinel, then he'd probably be up there with Bobby Moore. Obviously Bobby Moore gets the links because he's an icon, but I don't think it's worth doing him personally. Next, we have Rijkaard, who is 6'2", which is very good for a midfielder. Low medium work rate, which is good because his defensive rate is what he's focusing on, and 4-star weak foot. And that's decent for a defensive mid. His overall stats are quite well balanced. Dribbling isn't the greatest, especially if you're someone who likes to run with their midfielders, as I usually pass it to that defensive midfielder and then dribble with him as far as necessary before I can pass it, because that just gives me more options. However, I think players like Sissoko, players like Fabinho are just as good, maybe even better, so personally I don't think it's worth wasting your icon swaps on this icon personally. But if you were to get him a chem style, possibly an engine or a catalyst or maybe even a shadow would be beneficial to his card. Next we have Fernando Hierro. He's 6'2", his weak foot's 3, which is respectable for a centre back. High defensive work rate, which is brilliant. For a centre back, his pace is very respectable as well. His agility, again, not the best, but it is definitely decent for a centre back. His defending and physical stats are as good as you'd expect them to be for a centre back icon. But my only issue with this is when I played with him, he felt a bit heavy and clunky when playing with him. So there's definitely better centre backs again, like Ferdinand. I know he's expensive. Van Dijk, again, maybe even Militao or Joe Gomez. Definitely other options. So again, not really sure if he's the best option for you, unless you like him. He could be one of your favourite centre backs. He does get a strong link to Ramos if you do have him. He does get a strong link to Jordi Alba, Busquets, any other Spanish players that you have. De Gea could be a good link for you, and it's a lot of this is who fits your team the most. Van der Sar, probably one of the best in-game goalkeepers on this game. He's 6'6", and that means when he dives, he's more likely to get to those balls that are going into the corner. He's more likely to get the ones that are going to the top corner as well. And in-game, he's just ridiculous, and his stats are overall very good. And Chemstar will probably just leave a basic on him because that will improve each one enough to get it to a decent level. So his reflexes might be at 95 with a basic chemistry style, and you don't need to focus on other ones that only look at 3, because then the other 3 just be a bit neglected and maybe he won't be as good as he is with the basic. But yeah, like I'm saying, it's all about who fits your team better, who's going to improve that position that you need improving, and also personal preference. Like Raul, if you were to do Raul, you might be a massive Real Madrid fan, and Raul's your idol, so you're going to be more inclined to do him than I am because I'm not a Real Madrid fan. So it's all about perspective and kind of your position in the game and who you play better with. So for instance, Raul's 5'11", 4-star. He's got great stats. He's 5'11" with agility and balance, so he's going to be able to get away from those defenders. He's going to be able to win headers, and he is a bit slow, but with a chemistry style, he could be potentially a very good striker to have. And again, if you support Real Madrid, I think this would be one of the ones that you're going to do. Again, finishing, agility, balance, dribbling are fantastic. But there are other options that you can choose for, like, I don't know, a Mertens maybe. He's a similar type of player. He's small, he's agile, he's got good balance, good finishing. Not as quick as, say, Mbappe, but he can, with a chem style of the Hawk, Hunter or Catalyst, he'd be up there. So he's definitely a potential one to do, especially if you're struggling in that striker position. Next we have Ronald Koeman. He's 5'11", which isn't great for a centre-back, especially with his... Actually, no, he's got good jumping as well. I didn't think he had good jumping, but he does have good jumping, so that kind of levels out the 5'11". High medium may be a bit of an issue, but he shouldn't attack too much. 3-star weak foot, 3-star skill moves, which is an added bonus, but you're not really likely to do it. But he's got a fantastic card, especially if you're looking to play him in that central midfielder role, if you're changing him in game. His pace isn't a problem at all. 75 acceleration, 78 sprint speed, very good all-round stats. He can shoot, he can pass, he can defend, he can dribble if you want him to, he can outstrength someone, the whole Shazam really. But a chem style to use on him probably be a shadow and an anchor, probably the best chemistry styles to use for his card. And he's got 95 free kick accuracy as well. But again, I think there's definitely better centre backs that you could use. Again, Van Dijk comes to mind. I know he's a bit expensive, but you're paying for what you get. It's not like you're overspending on someone just because you like them. Van Dijk is probably one of the best centre backs in the game. Next, we move on to Clarence Seedorf. He's 5'9", which is alright for a midfielder. Maybe a bit taller for my. He could be a bit taller for my likings. High work rate, which is fantastic for a midfielder. 4-star. Again, fantastic. Pace is very good for a midfielder. Passing could be a little bit better. This is being quite picky as well. Although his short passing is good, it could be a bit better for a midfielder. And again, there's definitely better midfielders. Sissoko comes to mind. Possibly Fabinho as well. More leaning towards Sissoko, just because you don't have to grind for him. He's cheap. And he's got great all-round stats. But if you were to do Seedorf, the chem style that I'd probably put on him would either be backbone or powerhouse. Next, Robert Pires. Now this is quite a controversial one because he is a prime and his stats look very good. However, for a winger, he's 6'2", which I don't think is the best trait to have as a winger. Like height, medium work rate, 4-star in the weak foot and skill moves section. And in game, he does seem a bit clunky, and maybe that is due to his height. His balance and agility are at a decent level, so I can't see why that'd be an issue. But he does feel a bit clunky in game. For me, it's a no-go just because I don't think it's worth the grind to get, how many is it? 10 icon swaps to get Pires, because there's definitely better wingers that you can pay for. So, like Mane's a great example. He's a brilliant left wing. I know he's a bit expensive, but I think it's more worth saving up for Mane than it is grinding out for Pires, because I feel like saving up for Mane would be much easier and much more beneficial. Martial is quite similar to Pires. Right, height is an exception, but acceleration, finishing, dribbling, all very similar to Pires. But if you were to do him, chem style that I'd put on him if I was to have him would either be a Hawk or a Hunter. Now, Nakata, he's one of those players that for some reason I have a personal vendetta against, like one of the ones last season. I can't remember who it was, but I just never get on with him in game. although he has really good stats across board, like he's just not someone that I get along with. But there's definitely much better cams such as De Bruyne, Neymar if you can afford him, put him in that cam position. Maybe even Ousmane Dembele. I know he's a wing, like they're both wingers, but just moving him to a cam position in game. If you were to get him and get a chem style Catalyst or Hawk, I'd definitely recommend. So Socrates, don't be persuaded just because he's Brazilian. Look at his stats across board. Cam 6'4", which may be a bit too tall for a cam. He might feel a bit clunky. I haven't had a chance to properly try him, but he does have 5-star weak foot and he does have 4-star skill moves. Pace a bit low, could be a bit higher, but everything else is brilliant for a cam. Balance, apart from balance, is very low. Again, there's definitely better cams that you can be using, but if you are to get him, get a Hunter or a Hawk to put on him. Now Zambrotta is possibly one of the best fullbacks in the game. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skill moves. High medium might be an issue, but if you put him on stay back while attacking, it shouldn't be an issue. Pace, brilliant. Agility and balance possibly could be a bit better, but apart from that, solid stats across the board, and probably one of the icons that I might consider doing and I'd recommend grinding for. And if you're going to get him, chem style, sentinel or an anchor. Now Luis Figo, 4-star, 4-star, very high stats all round, and he's a good player in game. I used his prime for a large portion of FIFA 19, and great card. Like I didn't feel the need to replace him, and he does get that strong link to Cristiano Ronaldo if you're looking for someone to get a link with him. If you need improvement in that right wing spot, I'd definitely recommend doing him, but if you have like a Dembele, I wouldn't see it as a necessity to upgrade. If you were to put a chem style on him, I'd either use a Hawk or a finisher. Now, Sol Campbell. For me, I don't think he's an option to do. He's 6'2", which is good. Pace is very good, but the agility and balance are putting me off a lot, as well as passing, like especially if you pass out from the back, which the majority of people do. Passing isn't good at all, and ball control, if you're passing to him with a bit of pace, he's probably just going to give it to their striker, but defending the physical, brilliant. But for me, it's a no-go. Ferdinand, Van Dijk, Joe Gomez, Militao, all better options in my eyes, but if you are to get him, chem style would be a shadow or an anchor. Gary Lineker, 4-star weak foot, 3-star skill moves. It's a bit lacking for me in the skill moves, just because I like someone who's got at least 4-star skills. It's very good pace and shooting and dribbling. Agility and balance decent. Could have an upgrade possibly, but nothing to worry about really, especially because he's not tall. He's 5'10", which is a good height, especially with 78 jumping. Passing could be a bit better, although he's got 83 short passing. It's not mega important for a striker to have passing. It could potentially be an upgrade. He does always seem to score against me, and he's very clinical, but I think there are better icon swaps that you could choose over Lineker personally. But if you are to choose him, a chem style would be a Hunter, Hawk, finisher, or possibly even a sniper. Laurent Blanc, 6'4", medium high, work rate, and this card is in game is ridiculous. Like especially for a baby icon, is well balanced stats all round, and like I said, his in game plays much better than his stats should allow him to. He's a strong recommendation for this icon swaps season for anyone looking to strengthen their midfield. And he's French, so he's got so many options that you could link him with. And chem style would probably be an engine or a shadow. Mid icon pack, I'd say well clear of these. There's so many. There's good ones that you could get, but there's also ones that you just won't want. Like a layman, I don't think that's worth getting at all. But it's up to you with that. If you're struggling to choose from one, you could do it, but right. So Luis Hernandez, 3-star weak foot's not ideal. 4-star skill moves is decent. Pace is not a worry at all, and his finishing is very tasty because it's in the 90s. His stats for dribbling are all around very high. He's 5'9", meaning he could be very good at escaping players and getting around defenders, especially with his agility and balance. If you are going to do him, a chem style that I would recommend would be a Hunter, Hawk, or a sniper. John Barnes, I can't say that I'm very familiar with him in game. He's got 4-star, 4-star, he's 6 foot, possibly a bit tall for a winger again, but not something that is too much of an issue. Another player with overall good stats across the board, but possibly due to that height, and I'm not too sure in game, but possibly weight, he could be a bit clunky. But don't quote me on that because I haven't used him. But a chem style would be a hunter, hawk, sniper, finisher, or an artist. Del Piero, 5'9", brilliant. Weak foot 5-star weak foot and a 4-star skill moves, brilliant. Tad bit slow for my liking. High finishing, balance is alright, but it could be a bit higher. Agility is brilliant. Probably not my first choice of attackers from the icon swaps, but still a very good card. And those negatives are just me being a bit picky. Chem style would either be a hunter or hawk. And Ronaldinho, 4-star weak foot, 5-star skill moves. One of my favourite players in real life and in the game. He's a very, very silky player in game. And his pace could be a bit higher, and truth be told, his stats across board aren't fantastic. But in game, he feels so much better than what his stats say. And I do think his stats should be a bit better personally, but that could just be a bit of bias. And he's a possible choice for me for my icon swaps. And if you are going to do him, I'd choose a hunter for his chem style. Now, SEN, his card looks absolutely phenomenal. High, 5'10", 4-star weak foot. Skill moves isn't an issue because he is a central defensive midfielder. His pace for a DM is ridiculous. Passing is very good, 91 short passing. Agility and balance are good as well. Again, for a DM, that is very good. And his defending and physical stats are just unmatched, really. And there's not a lot about this card that I can say is bad. Just being very, very picky as a nationality. There's not many people that you can link with. And his finishing could be a bit better if you find him in the position where you want to shoot with him, but it's not one of those things that you need to worry about. It is possibly one of the best icon swaps in this section, and he's a very strong recommendation to grind towards, and chem style would be a shadow. Now Vieira, compared to Essien, his stats aren't anywhere near Essien's in my eyes, but in game he's absolutely ridiculous. Probably a better Kante in game. He's bigger Kante in game. He's 6'4", medium work rate, 3-star, 3 stars, respectable. And overall he's got good stats, but nowhere near as good as Essien's. But in game, like I said, he's much better than what his stats say that he should be able to do. And I imagine this is what everyone's going to be looking to get, and he's very good with links. He's French, so anyone that's French that's worth using is going to get a strong link to him. And chem style that I'd use is a shadow. So hopefully this video has helped you in choosing what icon swaps player you are going to do. Like I said, it's about perspective, it's about what's going to suit your team more and what's going to improve your team more. So if you did like it, I do enjoy doing these, and it's a bit like player reviews, I like doing them. So if you do like doing these, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in a bizzle.
With these expectations, they weigh me down. My heart is begging me to get the hell out of my head. I'm trying to live inside the upside.